Did I tell you how I'm the best shopper in the world? So I like swooped through. I was like a race car in and out kind of thing. And it was brilliant and it was fine. And I got my regular 7-second thing and it was no problem. And then to date this, it was St. Paddy's Day. And I saw they had, it was like 10:30 in the morning, but they had Guinness in the supermarket. And you know for a fact, two things are going to happen on St. Patrick's Day. One, I'm going to have Guinness. And two, every supermarket in London's going to run out of Guinness. Before.
Because of you.
Before 10:30 in the morning. The fact they had some, like, brilliant, game on, I'm going to buy some.
Get her done.
Swooped in with my Tesco's £3 meal deal on one hand and my on top of my laptop, like a waiter, like picked up a box of Guinness and the box just exploded in my hand.
Right, so the Guinness cardboard exploded.
The cardboard exploded and Guinness cans went flying over the store. And I've got my work computer, which I probably shouldn't carry around in the public with me, and I've got my food balanced on top of it.
Yeah.
And I'm watching Guinness cans just roll around. And then it's a scene, and then I'm gathering up Guinness cans from around people's feet. On the upside, we got Guinness for St. Paddy's.
That's right.
And I think we drank too much.
Did we?
I think we did.
I don't think we did. Did we?
I can't remember.
Did we switch to whiskey, though?
Is that why we drank too much?
Might have been. We might have run out of Guinness.
The day of your people.
I don't think we did. I don't remember. Which could mean one of two things. I remember us drinking the Guinness in there.
Yeah, I remember getting proper accidental drunk. But those were different nights.
Yeah. It was the week before that where we got catastrophically drunk.
Accidentally whiskey destroyed.
Yeah.
I've gotten whiskey destroyed with you 2 or 3 times in my life. And that was one of them. Like, just destroyed. Like, genuinely, embarrassingly. Help us, we're drunk.
I have no memory of you being, like, noticeably drunk ever. But it's because I have been destroyed myself.
I think I had that realization that you were under the weather and it was my problem. Like, I was genuinely like, I did this thing and now I have to clean up the mess that I have made.
I made a 5 foot and change woman keep up with a 7 foot fucking athlete.
That's on me.
I did quite well, actually, by that comparison. The most sedentary tiny woman kept up with, like, I do a 5-hour cycle and barely break a sweat, 7 foot giant.
Oh, you compliment. Shall we start this thing?
Yes, that would be a good idea. Everyone's wrong, and this is why.
Hello and welcome to Whiskey and No Chill, where two people who know nothing about anything have very strong opinions about everything.
Quite right.
My name is Brad, and with me as always is my slightly inebriated co-host. She may be short, but what she lacks in height, she makes up for in unwarranted confidence. It is 3-foot Irish. It is Cathy.
What do you mean unwarranted? It is absolutely warranted.
It's clearly warranted, I see.
Quite right.
As always, we are drinking whiskey. This is not a whiskey podcast. We are just enthusiastic amateurs, but we are continuing our arguments for your listening pleasure why we solve none of life's problems whilst drinking alcohol, which also solves none of life's problems.
Solves our problems, temporarily.
That's fair.
Or creates new ones.
It's my favourite Simpsons quote. Homer Simpson's like, to alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Exactly. Homer nailed it.
And we have, as is always the theme, 2 whiskies to drink today. Our whiskies we are drinking today is, I don't even want to introduce them. I'm really worried about this.
Yeah.
So we've had good whiskies, we've had bad whiskies.
Yeah.
We had my favourite bit so far, which was the whiskey you gave your uncle, or the whiskey you gave your dad for Father's Day at least 3 times in your life.
Yes.
We had the grouse versus the
So
Jamisons.
we've had the good.
Yep.
We had the bad.
We've had some middle grounds even.
But today we're having the ugly.
We have whiskies that deserve to have a brown paper bag wrapped around them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to describe the first one? Because you have told me many rude things about this.
So the first one is Paddy whiskey. It was named after the sales rep. It used to be called something else, but the sales rep used to go around and just get everybody absolutely destroyed on this whiskey. I think he died or something. I wonder what of. And they renamed the distillery after him. They named it Paddy Whiskey after him because his name was Paddy. And it was pitched to me by a distillery as like a teenager's whiskey. And it's designed to be put in Coke, basically. It is not designed to be, savoured in a nice squishy leather armchair with a jacket with leather patches on the elbows.
Smoking pipe in
with
one
a pipe,
hand.
yes.
Dog upon your feet.
With a bit of Tolstoy spread across your lap.
Yeah,
wait,
gazing
I came out
upon...
wrong. The book written by Tolstoy spread across your lap, to be clear.
Not in a perfectly reasonable Russian chap, I'm sure. Yeah. Gazing upon your lands as you stroke your beard and wear tweed.
Sure, of course.
It's not that?
It's not that, no.
No, it's very much that in this picture.
It is sitting in a car park with your friends because someone, a very unsavoury older person, bought it for you along with a 6-pack of Coke.
That one friend who you all had who had a beard when he was 14.
Exactly, and borrowed his dad's sports jacket.
Yes, I had one of those.
And went in and said, "How do you do, fellow adult?"
So you came at me with this as the worst whiskey in the history of the world. But it's Irish.
This is the thing I've noticed. Even the worst whiskey that's Irish has never, in my experience, has never been as bad as a bad Scotch. I think the range on bad Scotch is a lot wider than Irish whiskey.
So this genuinely presented us with a problem. And we've talked about this a lot. If you come at me with the worst possible Irish whiskey, what do we present back as the worst possible Scotch? And we searched high and low. We searched far and wide. We didn't want to go to distilleries and say, what's the worst you can give us? What have you got? We didn't want to dip to bourbon or we didn't want to go offshore. That's not fair. That's not in the game.
No.
And then I think it was you that had a moment of absolute genius. And I don't know where it came from, but it was
Seems
literally
unlikely.
brilliant. And we have Tesco's brand special, inverted quotes for those of us who can see what's happening at the moment, reserve. I doubt it's very special, or it's probably quite special in some regards.
Yeah.
I doubt it's very reserved.
No.
But it's literally the Tesco house whiskey.
Yeah, like Tesco value whiskey flavoured drink.
Whiskey flavoured drink.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the lowest moment of my life, but the judging stare I got when I walked into a supermarket at 9 in the morning as it opened, picked up 1 or 2 groceries, mostly so it looked like I was buying something else, and at the same time bought Tesco's brand Tesco whiskey.
It's not for me.
I couldn't have looked more like a... it was awful. It was horrible. I was hating it. And even worse, they had these anti-theft things on the cabinets to slow you down.
If you're going to steal whiskey, that's the one likely would correlate with that.
And so I had to stand there and push the button and it goes like, thank you for choosing to buy something. The door will open in 5, 4, 3, 2. And I guess that's to stop you just grabbing and running, but do you not just grab and run then?
I suppose, yeah.
And then I got to the front and went to buy it and it had a security tag on it.
Oh, yeah.
The security tag on that must have cost more than that whiskey cost.
I would guarantee it, yeah.
And so that's where we find ourselves. I genuinely am not looking forward to this.
Do you know what it makes me think of? Is I know specifically men, I've never heard a woman say this. I know men who say that they don't like going to the shop to buy toilet roll. Mm-hmm. Because if they go into the shop and just buy toilet roll, everyone will know that they go to the toilet and they're embarrassed about that. So they will go to the shop and buy toilet roll, but they'll also buy like some toothpaste, some bread, some crisps.
There anyway.
Well, yeah, but they didn't need any of that stuff, but they will buy it just to be like, I didn't come here just because I need to poop. It's because, I'm shopping, right? I do not understand why you'd be embarrassed about that. I do understand why you'd be embarrassed about buying whiskey flavoured drink. Oh. But I'm wondering if you went in there and bought, a bottle of Dom Perignon, some French Brie, a bottle of caviar, just the things to try and elevate yourself a wee bit.
I like the idea of breaking the algorithm because if you're trying to track these purchases, you're trying to figure out who I am as a human being. You're like, Something's wrong. Oh no, just his uncle's visiting again or something like that. That's what's going on
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Do you know what I would love to know though? If someone goes to the likes of B&Q, other large warehouses full of angry men and tools are available. If someone comes up and buys like a load of plastic sheeting, an axe, a hacksaw, a shovel, and etc., and a hammer, does that get flagged? Do people make a note of that?
I genuinely had this happen to me recently.
Oh my God.
I didn't get flagged by security services.
Right,
but
you
it was a
weren't buying
real
plastic
moment where I
sheeting
was at a garden centre, which is so on point and not where I was going with this. That's not the best segue in the world, and I wish it was. But I was at a garden centre and I bought like a pruning saw, I bought a shovel, I bought some fertiliser, and I was just like, plastic sheeting, and I'm like, oh no. Like, I genuinely, as I walked past the ropes and chain section, went, I should chuck a length of chain on here. That'd be the best look possible.
Yeah. It does get to a point where it's almost like competitive to see how scared you can make the person on the till.
Excuse me, do you have large bags of lye?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm going to need quite a lot.
It's a bit of an out there question, but you know, if you don't ask, you don't get. Do you have any clown costumes? What the fuck?
One axe, one clown costume, one Jason mask.
Yeah, and some binoculars. Have you anything that would prune branches of a tree out of the way so I could see into a woman's window? Just out of interest.
It escalated.
Yeah.
I'm going in for a taster.
Right.
Because we have to know what the hair's like.
Right. I'm going to actually make a note of which letter's which this time.
Yes, we use an A and a B on the glasses so they are anonymous. For the audio listeners, Cathy has lost all control. She sipped it. She may have actually spat some out. She didn't even get it.
I just smelled it. Oh, I don't want to drink it now. It's like durian. You smell it and you're like, nope.
You can do this. Take one for the team. Oh no, this is awful. It hasn't even gone anywhere near her mouth yet.
Right, settle down.
Settle down. Settle, petal. What do you think? Just use your words.
There's nothing there. Oh my God! What? That's the that is the weirdest sensation I've ever had with a whiskey. Right? You see now that was the face of someone just punched me.
It smells like it deserves to be in a brown paper bag. It smells like an alley I realised I shouldn't have walked down too late.
But it's not going to taste remotely like that.
It tastes like teenage memories. It tastes like regret in 16-year-old me. It doesn't taste awful, but it doesn't taste nice.
It doesn't taste nice, but it doesn't taste of anything.
Yeah, but I admit that smell, that's a kick in the nostrils.
I think the thing of it is, the smell is so bad that it just completely overwhelms your senses and then you can't taste it.
It's kind of like, what's that theory about like economy class travel? If you make it look really bad, you want to upgrade. Maybe this is there just to kick you one and you go, well, I'm not buying that again.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Proper level.
I'm going to buy like Lagavulin instead.
It smells so bad. It doesn't taste, it finally gets your taste buds. You're like, oh, could be worse. This
one sort of tastes plasticky.
I think that tastes like the absence of all fun things. Can I go back to
that one at least has some flavour in it, but it tastes a bit like plastic. It's got the burn that I'm looking for.
They're both very sweet.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah, anyway. Less spoken about those, the better. I realise that's part of what we do for a living, but here we are. I think it smells like bad bourbon, not bad whiskey. It smells like bourbon. It
smells like sweet sherry as well.
Do you know they just chucked like a crap ton of what this needs is caramel flavour. Yeah. Bring the caramel truck in. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, that'll do it.
I don't know why it's so funny, but they really fucked it.
What, like proper fucked?
It's proper fucked.
Cathy is turning a colour red like her hair.
Yeah. Right. I don't know why. I don't know why I keep
I don't want
drinking
to talk in case I miss you laughing and giggling and spit taking this.
Right, sorry.
Jesus, something just went off in the background.
It's such a weird sensation that the smell is so strong and then I taste it and nothing happens. Like there's no burn in the nose, there's no burn in the chest. It just fizzles out, but it tastes really synthetic-y, sort of. I don't know how to even explain how that tastes. It's like drinking polystyrene.
Triple distilled, pot still, malted grain whiskies matured in oak in Ireland, 40%. Tesco's, inverted quote, special, reserve, blended Scotch whisky, oak aged, matured in oak casks, 3 years minimum, 40%, made in Scotland.
I don't know that Scotland's going to be proud of that one.
No, they're all doing the right things. So we alluded to this.
Yeah.
We alluded to the tip of the day. This one's on me. This one is one of my additions to the list.
I don't understand.
And it is mostly childhood memories, but I hate garden centres.
How can you hate garden centres? I love garden centres.
Well, you like gardening though.
Well,
and
yeah.
I don't like gardening, and I don't really like garden centres. I think it mostly comes out of being a child in New Zealand, where growing up in New Zealand, what you did on the weekends was you get thrown in the backseat of your mum's car and you get dragged around a garden centre for what seemed like hours. Why they would buy plants and then go home, then make you help garden, which was the worst.
Aww.
Because you were gardening, not inside shooting aliens or something.
Sure, yeah.
Or even, heavens forbid, reading a book, which would be more fun than gardening. And it was hard work and manual labour and dirty, and it was just never fun. Not my jam.
That's weird. Did you? It's a garden centre though. Didn't they have like swings and slides and things?
No, they had garden stuff.
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed to run off and play because there were sharp things and tools and spades and.
Oh.
So you had to just trail around whilst your mum went, that looks green.
Petunias.
Yeah, the petunias are in. How exciting.
When you're a kid,
Yep.
you do not give a shit about plants at all.
No.
I don't know what happens to you. You just hit a point in your life where you're like, oh, marigolds. I don't know what happens there. That somebody flips a switch and you're suddenly into gardening. But even when I was little, they would take us, I would get taken to the garden centre. But it always had like Wendy houses. You familiar with these?
Yeah, I know the word you mean. Yeah. The one thing garden centres did have is garden centres in New Zealand aren't about garden centres. They had cafes in them.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And you would go there.
Yeah.
I think mostly in New Zealand, people would meet at the garden centre. You'd go to the garden centre for a coffee.
Of course, yeah.
You wouldn't go to the garden centre to go gardening.
No.
But when we were kids, we weren't allowed soft drinks or stuff like that. So the parents would get a coffee and we'd just sit there and be like, lame.
Guess I'll just sit here then.
Yeah, and watch them talk about boring shit.
Yeah.
And then you'd go buy some plants, which was boring.
Yeah, it's boring too.
And you'd go home in your garden, which is boring. The entire thing is just boring.
I never was asked to help to garden though. I think because my parents wanted to do it and didn't want me fucking it up.
I can see that.
That's the impression I get. Yeah. But I used to watch my mum get the flour out of the pot where she'd be like, squeeze, and then lift it out, and it looked really satisfying.
That is annoyingly slightly satisfying.
Yeah, especially when you've dug a hole in the dirt and then that just pops into it perfectly and you're like, oh, I'm a genius.
I don't find it satisfying to grow flowers.
Flowers are pointless.
I don't find it satisfying, and this might be mortally offensive to you, to grow vegetables. Like, I get that I can plant a potato and grow some potatoes. I'm doing that right now.
That's fucking magic though.
But I can go to the supermarket and embarrass myself because I am the best shop in the world, dropping my Guinness everywhere. I can go to the supermarket and buy it, and it's cheaper and it's quicker and it's easier.
It's not as nice though.
Isn't it?
No, it's not. Definitely not. Tomatoes grown yourself in your garden are going to taste infinitely better. And I thought, like, nah, I must be hallucinating this or something. It must be the basil dressing that I'm making to go with the tomatoes and then the buffalo mozzarella that I'm putting with them. That must be what's making this taste amazing. So I bought some tomatoes from the shop. Good ones as well. And just didn't taste as nice. It didn't taste as tomatoey. as the ones I grew myself. It definitely makes a difference growing it yourself.
My lovely wife grows tomatoes most years. And I go to Waitrose and buy the swanky tomatoes, the really, really fancy multicolour pack.
Yeah.
This one time, extra special bonus tomatoes, special tomatoes. And then she eats them and we pull the seeds out and we plant those and you get all sorts of weird tomato shapes and sizes and colours.
Yeah.
And whatever selective breeding, genetic modification, free-range magic, whatever they have, those tomatoes just grow.
Yeah.
They will not stop growing tomatoes.
But I think the difference is that it's just straight off the vine into your face.
Yeah.
And I think it's always going to taste nicer if it goes pick face, right?
Off vine, in face.
Yes, exactly. Or out of huge pot, into oven, into face, or whatever. But anyway, that's gardening. That's a different thing. The garden centre.
The garden
You're
centre.
grown up now.
Yes.
So you're a boring arse like your parents were.
And I have to go to garden centres and I don't want to.
Why?
I don't understand them.
It's fun now.
So there's two types of garden centre in the world,
Okay.
I think. There's the garden centre that you drive to.
Yes.
It's in the countryside and has a car park and has a cafe attached to it.
Of course, yeah.
And it has all the gardening things. And I don't own a car,
Oh,
so I'm not going to go to those.
that's problematic, yeah.
Yes, and I have genuinely speaking, when I'm driving holidays, we rented a car for a week or whatever, had to go to the garden centre because it's now an option in our lives.
Yeah.
Or there's the garden centres that are attached to hardware shops or something,
Oh.
which are a bit shit and a
yeah.
bit disappointing,
Yeah,
but they
they
also
are.
don't even have a cafe, so I can't even get a coffee.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I abide by the theory that garden centres aren't about the garden stuff, they're about the social aspect of going to a garden centre. And I think genuinely, I always thought this was a New Zealand thing, growing up in New Zealand. Oh, I wish we videoed these podcasts. Because I didn't know you could make that face. That whiskey,
That makes me make that face.
one of those whiskeys is so bad that it's an incredible struggle to watch Cathy drink it. When I was growing up, that was a real Jimmy Carr. It was a
Oh no, I told you I'm paranoid about having a Jimmy Carr laugh.
You have a wonderful laugh, I'm sure. When we were growing up in New Zealand, I thought it was a New Zealand thing. Because in New Zealand, you can't take children to a pub like you can here.
What?
That's just a thing in the UK that everyone's like, oh yeah, we'll go to the pub and hang out as a family.
That's abuse.
Where in New Zealand, it's illegal to take children to a pub, I feel.
That's abuse.
And then once they're a certain age, like 16 or something, you can go with your father and they can buy you a soft drink. But that's all.
Really?
Yeah. So you can't do that. And
Yeah.
then there was not enough cafes, I think, because there wasn't a lot of coffee shops when we were growing up as kids.
Sure.
Coffee culture became a thing when I was growing up.
So you went to the garden centre disproportionate amount of time then compared
That's what
to
you
people
did.
in the UK.
Yeah. So
Because
like
that's where you could meet.
our older siblings and younger parents' generation just went to garden centres to be social. And that's weird to me. Hang out in the ferns.
Well, if you've nowhere else to go, then what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, you turn 14, there's a particular type of plant you like all of a sudden, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's not in a garden centre though.
No, weirdly.
It's usually out in the forest somewhere. And if you do find it, you shouldn't interfere with it. The people who own it are probably going to be pretty cross.
Let that one be.
Yeah. Oh, look. What are the chances? I have a recurring dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that dream, it's usually something like I'm in a sweet shop or a stationery shop or an all-you-can-eat buffet of some kind. I don't know. But anyway, in the dream, there is everything. There's like an infinite variety of the things I like, right? There's everything I could ever want there. And I'm given to understand in the dream that I can pick and mix my way through the entire thing, right? And I've got to that point and I'm like, I can have anything here. And I start looking around and I'm like, oh, they've got that and they've got that. And oh, that's exciting. And just at the point where I go to actually start putting stuff on the plate or the bag or whatever, or the basket, I wake up. That's the dream. This is the recurring dream that I have.
You don't get the nice thing.
Well, it's... I don't wake up sad. I wake up like, oh, that was brilliant. I spoke to a psychiatrist who's a friend of mine about it. I told him that dream. And I said, what do you think it means? And he says, it sounds to me like you're just incredibly contented in your life. That you just have this dream all the time, that you have infinite options and, you know, you're clearly just very happy. And I said, oh, that's nice. That's cool. That's how I feel in the garden centre.
You could...
I go in there and they've got everything I could possibly want in the garden centre. They've got like vegetables and fruit and stuff that I can grow. They've got all these seeds. They've got all these cool tools, they've got everything you can think of to annihilate slugs in the most horrific ways possible. They've got every kind of fertilizer I could want. You want fish blood and bone meal? We got it.
Why
you
is
want
it fish blood?
They used to do, it was just like cattle bone. And then obviously in the UK, they had to bin that off because people were getting BSE. What did humans get? CJD?
Kraskod, Jakob. Yeah, that's your CJD.
Yeah, you could get that from the bone. So I guess maybe that's why they switched to fish blood and bone meal.
Why does fish make plant good? Because that doesn't make much sense.
Nitrogen?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I kind of get why dead plant make plant good or dead cow make plant good. Who was the first guy to be like, I bet trout would really perk that apple tree up, right?
Yeah, someone must have done it. And do you know what I think it is? It's the same thing that's going on in our house, which is every time himself empties out the fish tank and does the water, I pour that water on the plants. So it's like fish shit.
Right.
Absolutely invigorates the garden.
Okay, fair play.
Yeah, so that's what I think it is. Someone was putting their fish filter content over the garden.
Oldie times.
Yeah, whatever.
Someone was filtering out their fish filter.
Yeah.
That made sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the garden centre.
You say that everything you need at the garden centre is at the garden centre, but there's some things that I'm querying why they're there. There's always the weird statue section.
Oh my God, yeah.
Who buys a
those?
flock of giant otter statues?
Who buys those big toadstools?
The big toadstools. I've got, like, to peer behind the scenes here, I have notes.
Yeah.
And one of my notes is all the statues and giant toadstools. So
Yes.
I wrote that down.
Who buys those toadstools? Who buys the fountain with the fairy in it?
Oh my God, I fucking hate those little stupid fairies.
Yeah.
The fountains.
And
I hate
so
those little
much. Well, I
fountains.
hate fairies. You know how I feel about those little bastards.
For people listening for the first time, Cathy's not making a massive homophobic slur.
Oh no!
She just actually hates
like legit fae.
legit, actual magical fairies.
Yes.
And that's on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah, I look forward to finding out what the hypothetical did to you.
they're bastards.
Yeah, they'll sneak up on you.
Yeah, I don't want a statue of one in my garden spitting water all over the place. Why does water come out of their mouths? Why do you want this vomiting fairy in your garden?
Water just about came out of your mouth when you sipped one of those whiskies earlier.
Yeah. I was pretending to be one of those fountains, and they look so plasticky as well.
Oh, they just look so shit.
I went to the garden centre once, and I was buying big planters, and I saw this one, this terracotta number. And I was like, right, I'm going to get this up onto the trolley myself. I can do it, right? Roll my wee sleeves up, gripped it by the edge, lift with your knees, like leaned away, got it, right? And then it wasn't terracotta, it was plastic. And I went, whoa!
To the moon!
Exactly. I almost threw it over my head and backwards. Really hurt myself too. I was like, fuck.
Oh, I'd forgotten the story. I'd forgotten this, but when we were teenagers, me and some of our mates were just messing around in Auckland, back New Zealand way. And someone had driven their car off a curb in a car park.
Oh, shit.
And, there was a gap of about a foot to the next car park down. It was like this foot drop in the concrete, and the car was leaning on the base of it. The wheel was off the ground. And the wheel wasn't touching anything. And the owner was just like, oh, fuck, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, lads, can you give us a hand? We're like, yeah, what's up? We're
Lift
helpful
my
young
car.
Yeah, could you lift up this car? And just, it's in neutral. So if we can, all four of us can lift up this corner of the car and push it back, I'll get it back up and the wheel will be back on, we'll be good. We'll all be good. And I'm like, yeah, makes sense. And
Yeah, we
roommate's
can do that.
We can totally do that. What is it, a ton? We've got this. And four of us just wound up our sleeves and went,
Should really have assessed the weight first.
yeah, it didn't move an inch.
I'd love to watch
There's
that.
four dudes just giving it
We
all.
could lift a car.
Can totally lift a car. Oh, so off piece. Where were we?
Oh, I don't know. I'm fascinated by this.
Oh, it was a great moment. It was one of those moments in my life where I wish I'd filmed it and I could watch it back now because it's glorious.
Jesus. So, okay, so this is the one thing I agree with you about garden centres is there's no good time to go to the garden centre because a lot of places, a good time to go is during the week, when everybody's at work, sort of early-ish because everybody's at work, blah, blah, blah. that's usually, if you're trying to go to the bank or something, go at like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you apply that same logic to the garden centre, that's not going to work because the majority of people going there are retired people and they're all old and therefore, for some reason, all early risers.
Yep.
So they're at the peak of their stride at 10 o'clock in the morning.
They're full flow.
When you roll up, they're expecting to get parked and you can't. I don't know when you would go to the garden centre when it's not packed full of old people. I'm not complaining about old people. I have no problem with old people. My complaint is you can't get parked because the entire place is bunged. That's annoying. Because we're buying a huge amount of heavy stuff that himself has to carry. While I'm walking with like little seed packets and he's behind me like a pack mule with 4 bags of compost. Where did we park? Why is it so far? Yeah.
We buy, because my lovely wife and I are both cyclists. We're both non-car people. We don't own a car.
You're not cycling anywhere with bags of fertiliser.
You cannot go to a garden centre and cycle home.
No.
You just can't do it.
No.
Like, I've genuinely cycled home with, like, it was a rake or a shovel or something like that. Like, ye oldie days
You must have looked like a dodgem.
Like, I would have speared someone. It was
Jousting.
dangerous. It was great. I've done all sorts of dumb things on my bike, but I can't get fertiliser on there. And I'm not going to get a fern or something on there. Right?
Oh, wow.
Like an olive tree or a hedge or something.
Sure. Would you not think about getting one of the wee like trolley cart things you put in the back of your bike? Like the little trailer thingies that people typically put children in, but
yeah,
you can put something more useful in there.
They're just so annoyingly expensive.
Children?
Yes. Bike trailers.
Yeah.
I was going somewhere with that. Oh yeah, so we have a garden. We have a little masonette with a garden at the back. And when we bought it, it had been, I was going to say abandoned, but that's the wrong word. No one had lived there for 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
And so we moved in May. It was glorious. It was like the Garden of Eden back there. It was wonderful. It was like a Disney movie.
Oh, wow.
There was grass to about knee high to me, so about, head height to you. It was all wildflowers and tall grasses and trees
It's
poking
like
up.
watching Jurassic Park for you. Like,
Yeah.
where the fuck did my wife go? And you just see the grass moving.
And it was brilliant and it was beautiful and wonderful. And I'm like, oh, I can see why people go through wild. I think it's actually quite nice. And there was like squirrels and birds and wildlife. I found a frog just hopping around quite happily. I'm sure there was snakes. I just never
Rest
saw
in
them.
peace, frog.
Are you still going as far as I know?
I think you drowned him.
Shit.
I fucking warned you about that.
I did, actually. I did drown the frog. And it was a frog doing drowning. It was a bear trap. I had a bear trap
He
in my
died how
garden.
you want to go.
Exactly. I had a yogurt container filled with beer for the slugs to not eat my wife's lettuces.
And what did I tell you would happen?
And the frog tried to eat the slugs and instead fell in and then ate all the slugs and then went out pickled.
Yeah.
More power to him. I found another frog since then. So I didn't kill any frog.
Oh, thank God.
So I've got the
Love
literal
frogs.
Disney movie back there. Yeah. And in the back of the garden was a shed.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, brilliant, we bought a shed.
Oh,
Who knew? Didn't even know until we found it.
Didn't find till you mowed the
Exactly.
garden.
And so then my lovely wife was like, we should mow a path to the shed. And I was like, we should mow a path to the shed. So I mowed this path through the long grass, like the raptor in Jurassic Park, just going through. It was terrifying.
Clever girl.
Exactly. And it was very cool and it was nice and I liked it. And then the weather got slightly warmer for summer and what was this beautiful wilderness turned into a fire hazard. Turned into hay. You know what I mean?
Hollywood Hills.
Yeah, so then we actually mowed the rest of it. Now we have a lawn and garden on the side and it's lame and
You
it's
should keep
boring.
that hedge really useful for strawberries.
Instead, I think we made a compost heap, which I will admit was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because I got to get the rake out and smudge it and can turn it over
You
every
need
now
to
and then.
pee on that.
What?
You need to pee on that.
I do.
You do.
Okay.
Well, it's going to be quite difficult for your wife to do it, isn't it? But you need to.
For more nitrogen?
Yeah, it's really good for your compost heap to pee on it.
So one of our colleagues...
Also keeps foxes away.
One of our
if you
colleagues
do
gave
it.
me some advice about brown stuff versus green stuff in it, and I've changed the ratios, and now it's really good.
Yeah, you need some cardboard in there. And
Yeah,
stuff like that.
It's going really well, and it's phenomenal how a thing that can be 6 foot tall can go to like nothing, and we got really good
and
soil out
get
of
really hot. Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I have to go to the garden centre and buy flowers, and I don't like that. And
Why
then
would you buy
plant-
flowers?
Yeah, not flowers. You're right. Buy vegetables. We plant lettuces and broccolis. So I've got one other bone to pick with garden centres.
Oh.
I like spending time in my garden. I
Yes.
like garden furniture. I like garden chairs. I like to sit there or sit on a beanbag or a bench or something. So I thought I'd go to the garden centre and buy like a bench or an outside couch or a chair or something.
Oh yeah, remortgage your house to do that, did you?
Fuck me, it was fucking expensive. How did you know that's where that was going?
Because I've tried this myself. This is the reason I sit on the step in my garden, because I am not spending millions of pounds for something that's going to get encrusted in spiders and rust in mere days. I don't like sitting on them.
It's a literal pile of wood.
Yeah, or metal.
Yes. And I'm like, what are you doing to me?
Have you ever tried to set a wine glass on one of those metal, like...
Oh, yeah, that's just stupidity.
Wiring tables, exactly. The flowery ones, where you're like...
The whole thing is a trip hazard.
Yeah,
Tell you what we did find when we mowed the backyard. We found a bunch of tree... I was going to say tree stumps.
Did you find a timorous wee beastie?
We definitely disturbed some of them.
Yeah.
We found like someone had cut down a tree at some point, and there was logs that were cut into perfect rounds, so that became a set of stools.
Yes. Perfect.
Like an American campground.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then we found a genuine, like, kind of Victorian-esque picnic bench.
Ooh.
The cast iron one with the wooden planks in between.
Oh, yeah.
Really
I know the one you mean, yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine wants to, like, polish it down and stuff like that. And we just keep finding shit in the garden. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's quite handy.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
So, yeah, I'm not spending that kind of money on
Can I
garden
float you
furniture.
something?
Yeah.
I can buy compost on the internet.
Yes.
I can buy plants on the internet.
Yes.
In fact, I recently did. I can buy tools on the internet.
Yes.
Major purveyors include Amazon, and other services are available unless they want to sponsor us, and Amazon's the best thing ever, but until then, fuck those guys.
Yeah, boo.
I don't need to go to a garden centre. And in fact, if you consider how cheap deliveries are, I can get it for cheaper than driving to the garden centre and paying for the petrol, let alone the stress of the parking with your aforementioned slightly older clientele, or carrying of heavy goods and or services. Wow.
That's core stuff.
That's a tough taster.
Yes, you can get
There's
everything.
no pleasure to be taken from going there.
Yes, there is. But it's the same thing with bookshops. Like, you can get every book you're talking about, you can get it on the internet, right?
Yeah, I do that too.
You can get any book on the internet.
Yep.
But there's something about going to a bookshop and looking at all the lovely books. And it's the same thing with the garden centre. No?
Not my jam.
Cycling bits and bobs. Would you not like to go into the shop and have a hook?
You see these socks.
No one cannot see those socks. Like, the fucking ISS can see those socks.
For the audio listeners, Brad is wearing an embarrassingly bright coloured set of cycling socks underneath his very nice work clothes.
They're neon pink.
Not only that,
Cyndi Lauper would be like, God damn, those are
they're uncomfortably high as well. They keep going.
That's worrying.
Yes, I bought them on the internet.
You look like a flamingo.
Yes, and I'm okay with it.
A flamingo in trousers.
Oh no.
That is weird.
I can buy whatever I want on the internet. I don't have to go to a shop to do that. And garden centres are the worst of shops.
But there's certain things that you just like wandering around and looking at stuff. Looking at stuff you're never ever going to buy. Like a bookshop, where I look at all these books and I'm like, well, that's nice. That's a nice book. But I am just going to buy it on my Kindle.
Or
unless it's a cookbook.
Or like our closest whiskey shop, our patron saints, who we spend a lot of time at. I spend a lot of time looking at things I can't afford there.
Yeah, and frankly, they should be sponsoring us at this point.
I'm surprised they're not sponsoring us, considering.
I'm surprised they haven't brought it up, actually.
They did the last time we were there. It was like, oh, seeing you again a lot recently.
Yeah, well, that they brought up. But like, at this point, would you like some sort of, loyalty card or...
Members discount, buy none, get one free.
Yeah, at this point. Yeah, we've earned our 10th bottle of whiskey free at this point, I think. Yeah. There's something about wandering around the garden centre and seeing all the stuff that you're not going to buy, but you're like, you know what we could do? We could grow an olive tree. We could do it. It could happen. We're not gonna, but we could.
Yeah, it's not gonna.
Look at all the pretty flowers that, we don't really give a shit about and has no place in our garden, but because we exclusively grow vegetables. And see, you're making fun of my face, but that is quite a face, Brad.
I think we're at that time of night.
Yeah.
The glasses are getting low.
Well, this part's going to be really quick because I think we both know, I think we are very much in agreement about which is nicer. Right? I mean, it's fairly obvious which is which.
All right. So, which is nicer to you? Without a shadow of a doubt, Cathy's pointed at one immediately. It doesn't matter for our audio listeners, but she's pointed at glass B. Glass A is the one that has made us cringe.
Wince.
Just visibly recoil.
And laugh hysterically.
Pull back into our seats. A is a punch in the nose, but on the mouth isn't so offensive. Glass B, just taste of absence and regret.
Yeah. B, I can tell it's whiskey, but...
A is everything I drank when I was a teenager, and I regret it afterwards.
I feel like A is like they just put some ethanol in a bottle, diluted it appropriately, and then added various flavourings. Like they're like, oh, people like sherry cask. Let's pour some sherry in there so it tastes a bit like a sherry cask. But instead all it does is smell somewhat of mushrooms.
So you're saying you prefer B strongly?
Yeah.
Very good. And now just for my own sanity, and it doesn't really matter because it's the what you prefer that is the key point, but just my own knowledge, which one do you think is which? Which one is the whiskey that is the worst thing you've ever known in the entirety of your life that you've told me is the worst thing ever bottled? And which one is Tesco's brand?
Well, I think this is the Irish one because it burns in the right place, which is there. That's where Irish whiskey gets you.
Cathy's pointing at her chest. Yep.
And
in fact, she's just tapping on the microphone incessantly.
Whoops. Sorry, folks. But Scotch gets you there. And considering that feels like I get punched in the nose, I'm going to say that's the Scotch that you're holding.
How confident do you feel?
Well, I was feeling pretty confident until you made that face at me because you look like the fucking Joker.
Cheshire cat just sitting going, yeah. Excellent. No, you're right.
Yes.
You've got it this time.
Yes.
You are 3 of 5. You've pulled slightly ahead. You've picked Paddy's as your favourite whiskey of the day. And I think that was a low bar to cross.
Yeah, it was very much like the first one that we did where we got that young whiskey from Limerick versus like a 10-year-old, like very well-respected Scotch. So that one was hardly fair.
Life is not now nor ever been fair.
However, do you know what's interesting is I have, since episode 2, so we did episode 2, then I gave up sugar for Lent. I'm not religious. I just do it to test my mettle, to be clear. You finished that. You're an absolute gentleman. And sugar is the number one thing to ruin your palate. So I think that giving up sugar has improved my palate and I can taste the difference better. And that is why I probably got the Glenlivet and Blackbush wrong. Because I ate that bag of sugary popcorn right before we started recording. I think it screwed up my palate.
That will never not be my favourite thing when you didn't get Bushmills right.
I demand a rematch on that one.
I'm okay with it.
That's going to be like the Christmas special where I get a rematch on it.
Do we want to plug our socials?
Oh yeah, we haven't got them yet, but we can plug them at some point. Cathy, you had one job to set up our socials. Oh shit, yeah, that was my job, wasn't it? Sorry.
To be fair, my job is editing and you've done the majority of that so far.
So why haven't you set up the socials then, you
I
piece of
haven't
shit?
finished the editing. So where can people find us online, Cathy?
Oh, everywhere, except Twitter. So we've got...
Fuck those guys.
Well, yeah. We've got Instagram, we've got Blue Sky, we've got TikTok, we've got YouTube, we've got Buy Me a Coffee as well, which is very exciting because while the other 4, you can just voice your opinion and maybe recommend some nice garden centres, hint, hint. With Buy Me a Coffee, you can buy us a coffee, or somewhat more apt would be buying us some whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you have liked our podcast, let us know. And if you've hated it, fuck that, let us know too.
Yeah, Brad can read those ones.